partners you lost. Your partner died. Dude, that is the best dead scene ever. No! That is the best. All these fucking Tom Clancy games. The whole gimmick is it's not really a very interesting or original game. In fact, a lot of these games lift elements of other great gaming franchises, but because they put it into a co-op game where really the enjoyment comes by you playing with your friends and having a social experience while you're grinding and shooting things, the games became popular versus actually putting out a quality game that you want to play because the game is good. Instead, you're doing it to do repetitive stuff with your friends. And we've seen a lot of these games in recent years, right? Oh, that's another good one, Moonwalkman. I actually agree with you. The zombie games craze. For like 2 years straight, we had Left 4 Dead, The Walking Dead, Dead. Everything was dead. Every game had dead. A million zombie fucking games that all came out within a short period of time, right? The newest craze, undoubtedly, is Battle Royale. Honestly, if you actually look at numbers, the Battle Royale craze has already kind of ended on PC. Like, it really kind of hit its peak with PUBG. And
like their name, their address, the number, how I can get in contact with these guys. I would really like to know because, like, I'm seriously considering suing them. Because at this point, they're going to follow me around when I stream. And they're affecting my business at this point. Honestly, they're affecting my ability to make money. Appear offline doesn't work. I'm fucking offline.
Days, I'm not even kidding. I took the air conditioner out of the window and the sun comes out for 3 straight days and I'm hot in here. I'm like, oh God, I stream now. And I'm sweating. Now the good news is, the further we get into the fall season, the cooler it gets. So even though now it's like 60s, probably within a month or two, it'll maybe start to even go down a little bit more to the 50s. Then the ambient temperature drops more, and therefore it's pretty much nice from around now all the way through, I'd say, like March, April. Then in April, all of a sudden the temperatures start to go up again, and then we get back to the heat cycle here, okay? Ultimately, when it's the best is when it rains. When it rains outside, not only is it cool in here, but I get like a little bit of moisture that comes into the office, and it's very refreshing. So the truth of the matter is, the most common weather that we have out here in Washington State near... Okay, there we go. Wow, my laptop was freezing up. Next question is from AceGamer87. And AceGamer asked the following. You have made your feelings known that you disliked Final Fantasy VIII. My question is, how far did you actually play into that game? Would you see yourself playing it at a future date? I would love to have my favorite gamer ever... Oh, my favorite game ever, played by my favorite content creator. It, of course, has its flaws, but it's still a Squaresoft RPG. There are well-known grinding exploits in the game on the island of Heaven and Hell on Disc 3, so no need to worry about it being too time-consuming. The exploits are so busted, you don't even have to grind before Disc 3. I've mastered the game, so I can give you advice, etc., so you could have an easy, quick run-through and fully weigh in on whether you still dislike the game or not. When I'm in a better position financially, I may be even willing to pay towards the inconvenience of having to play another RPG on your channel when they don't do well. Although I genuinely feel there would be a ton of interest in you playing Final Fantasy VIII Kupo from an 8-year-long fan. Alright. Final Fantasy VIII. I've talked about this game over the years. I'll talk about it again. What you guys got to remember is that everything I tell you about Final Fantasy VIII is based on my recollection of playing it in the 1990s when it was a new game. I never tried to play it again. Maybe I'm wrong on some of the things and counts that I say about this game, but I would tell you to the best of my knowledge why I did not like Final Fantasy VIII, okay? First of all, I remember the magic system, wasn't it called the draw system or something like that? Like, you didn't learn spells. You had to suck spells out of enemies, which sucked because it was required grinding. Like, oh, I'm going to prepare for a new area. I got to go suck spells out of enemies so that when I go to the next area, I have spells to use, right? It sucked ass. I
just wanted to have a good fucking stream, dude. That's all I wanted to do.
That over the years being a content creator, I've had the pleasure of playing games like Super Mario World, Link to the Past, Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, and the like as playthroughs. There's a really awesome feeling to be able to play those games as playthroughs and share those experiences with you guys. And by the way, I should bring this up. I'm going to be playing Final Fantasy IV at some point. I own it on the 3DS. I've had it for 2 fucking years, and I've wanted to play it. I want to play that goddamn game. I love that game. I would love to do streams with that game with you guys. And now that my streams are more interactive and more positive and fun, I think that this would be a great time to do it. Obviously, I'm not doing it now during the hardcore gaming season, but Final Fantasy IV is definitely one I would like to do. Is it Suikoden or Suikoden? I don't know how to pronounce it, but that series of games, I played the first 2, and I absolutely love those games. That's a series I would love to play at some point. I'm gonna do it eventually, you know what I mean? Also, Lost Odyssey, that was an RPG that I played. You gotta realize there were a lot of factors involved that made my back worse. Even though I had a severely herniated disc, there was snow and ice constantly in the winter. There were incredibly hot, humid, nasty fucking summers. I lived alone, and I had to constantly, like, when I went grocery shopping or whatever, I would have to carry all the shit by myself. I had to walk from my car through this parking lot that was a piece of shit falling apart, up a staircase, down a long hallway to get to my unit and back. It wasn't like now where I have a garage. And a lot of stuff was far away from me. If I wanted to do stuff in Connecticut, I had to drive a lot to get to that stuff. Since I moved to Washington State, I have a garage, so I don't have to worry about long walks to and from my car. There's relatively no snow or ice to have to worry about. There's no really super hot weather to worry about. I don't have to do strenuous physical activity. Oh, I go grocery shopping. I take the bags from the trunk into the kitchen, which is the next room over. It's like 2 seconds. I basically have a better life out here because of the things out here are very different.
The company who sent him the product to review called him or tried to contact him and said, hey, dude, what's going on? Where's the review? He lied and said he never got it, even though he had to sign when the package got delivered.
I work with these streamers who only had one genre that they played. For example, fighting game streamers. All I do is play fighting games all day. If I was just playing first-person shooters like Call of Duty all day, I probably would hate my job. That's not the kind of person I am. Like, even though I love Street Fighter, even during my highest level of competitive days, when I was going to tournaments and winning and doing all that, I had burnout. Like, I would play for a week straight and then say, man, I'm tired of this. I need to take time away from it for a few days to a week. And a lot of times I would play fighting games so much that actually I would get worse. The more I would play so much, I would get worse at it. I would go do something else for a week, come back and feel refreshed and do better again. That's kind of how I am. Like, I will feel burnout if I'm doing the same exact kind of thing all the time. And that's why I don't do only fighting games. That's why I do a wide variety of stuff, because I know that doing the wide variety of stuff allows me to not get burnout, but also to be a person who appeals to the masses. You can have different groups of people coming in at different times to watch different genres of gaming. You know what? If watching me do a vlog live on stream and answer your questions isn't your cup of tea, you could come back tomorrow and watch me do a completely different kind of stream, right? And that's the cool thing about what I do. All right.
Let's have a boxing match between you and I and have it set up by Keemstar. You got such an issue with me, man. You got such beef with me. Let's settle in the ring. Oh, and by the way, if you don't come through and he actually sets up the match, you're a pussy, because I'm going to legally fuck you up in there. Dude, stop with your trolling shit. Oh, this was my master plan just to piss you off. This was all
own shit. That's not going to do you fly in my fucking tournament, you know? And that's how all that stuff was handled. So, you know, that was me. And people respected me as a tournament organizer and loved the stuff that I did because of that. But that's honestly a lot of the times that I didn't like tournaments. And the final tournament where basically I stopped playing competitively in 2007 was because it was EVO, and it was preferential treatment and preferential floating. And it was bullshit. Like, they rigged the brackets against me. You know, people say all the time, oh, Phil, you know, you exaggerate. No, the people who run EVO don't like me for many, many reasons over the years, okay? There's many times I've called them out.
Even when I ignore him on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever else, he starts digging into my personal life. This isn't just a troll. It's someone who's dedicated. It's someone who's mentally ill. I'm not going to sit here and live my life according to someone else because they're overseas and they don't like me and they think they're untouchable.
Are you sure about that?
I did it fair. I split it up to make it so that every round was fair and challenging and fun, and I wouldn't do bullshit, you know, floating, and I wouldn't have preferential treatment. It was a very different experience attending a DSP tournament versus someone else's tournament, and some people loved that, and for a lot of the top players, they didn't like that because they didn't get their asses kissed, and they didn't get that cheating kind of preferential treatment at my tournaments, so they didn't like that. Okay, a couple shout-outs here. Him and Oma did 100-bit cheers. Were any of the tournaments on stand-up machines? Yes. Yes, many tournaments from the entire time of the 90s into like the first half of the 2000s. Every tournament was on a stand-up arcade cabinet. It wasn't until like the mid-2000s that there was a conversion from arcade to console versions of games. And even then, look at what happened with Super Turbo. They could never agree on what was the good console version. PS1, PS2, this collection, that collection, HD remix, then this version, then this. There's never an agreement on what's the right version to play of these games. The classics, at least. So, excuse me. Frank South tipped me $10 and said, I'll drink to that. I have no idea what he's referencing at all. But thank you, Frank South, for the top tip for today. Let's get you up on the leaderboard. Thank you, thank you. Get that centered if I can. Of course, now probably someone will cheer and mess it up anyway. Insomniatic Meat also did a 100-bit cheer. Thank you very much, Insomniatic Meat. Okay, let's now take a break. Let's take about another 15-minute break, everyone. If you're watching on stream, it'll be just the 15 minutes. I'll be back and we'll continue. If you're watching this live on YouTube or on demand on YouTube, I'm going to end this video and there'll be a third and final part. What are we going to do in the third and final part? We're going to do Twitter questions, shout-outs, and so...
He's too goddamn annoying. Every tweet I would put up, he would sit there and fight with every one of my followers, and he was just spamming all over.
Yeah.